One peaceful morning, a young man walked alone along a quiet mountain path. His heart was heavy, and he felt lost about which direction to take in life. As he stopped beside a tree, he noticed an elderly man sitting nearby. The old man had a peaceful face and kind eyes. He smiled and said, "You don't have to carry every burden alone." The young man looked at him and asked, "How do I find my way when I don't know where to go?" The old man slowly stood and began walking beside him. "Sometimes," he said, "the path becomes clear when you keep walking with faith." They continued together as the morning sun rose over the mountains. The young man began to feel hope returning to his heart. When they reached the top of the hill, the old man pointed toward the beautiful sunrise and said, "Remember this, even when you cannot see the whole road, you can still take the next step." The young man turned to thank him, but the old man was gone. #The Old Man and the Young Man, Part 2. The young man stood quietly on the mountain, staring at the place where the old man had disappeared. For a moment, he wondered if he had imagined the entire encounter. Then he noticed something lying beside the tree, a small wooden cross. He picked it up and held it carefully in his hands. As he looked at it, he remembered the old man's words, "Even when you cannot see the whole road, you can still take the next step." The young man placed the cross around his neck and continued down the mountain. Later that day, he reached a small village. Near the village entrance, he saw an elderly woman struggling to carry a heavy basket. Without hesitation, he stopped and helped her. The woman smiled and said, "Thank you. You remind me of someone I once knew." The young man became curious. "Who?" She pointed toward a small house at the end of the road. "An old man who used to help everyone in this village. He disappeared many years ago." The young man froze. "Was he carrying a wooden cross?" he asked. The woman looked surprised. "Yes." The young man slowly reached for the cross around his neck. That night, he returned to the mountain and prayed beneath the stars. "God, I don't know why you brought me here, but I understand now. Maybe I was searching for answers when what I really needed was faith." A gentle breeze moved through the trees. Then, in the distance, he saw a warm light shining from the mountain path. The young man smiled. He stood up and began walking toward it, not because he knew where the road would lead, but because he finally trusted the one guiding his steps. To be continued. #The Old Man and the Young Man, Part 3. The young man followed the warm light along the mountain path. The higher he climbed, the quieter everything became. The sound of the village slowly disappeared behind him, replaced by the gentle wind moving through the trees. After a long walk, he reached a small wooden house. The door was slightly open. He stepped inside and found an old table covered with books, candles, and small wooden crosses. On the wall was a simple message: "Help others, forgive, and never lose faith." The young man touched the words with his hand. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned around. It was the old man. The young man stared in surprise. "Where did you go?" he asked. The old man smiled. "I was never far away. Sometimes people only see what their hearts are ready to understand." The young man lowered his head. "I thought I needed someone to show me the perfect path," he said. "But now I understand. I needed to learn how to walk with faith." The old man nodded. "Your journey is not finished. Tomorrow, you will meet someone who needs the same hope you once needed." The next morning, the young man returned to the village. Near the road, he saw a frightened child sitting alone. The young man remembered how lost he had once felt. He sat beside the child and gently said, "Don't be afraid. You don't have to face everything alone." The child looked up. And for the first time, the young man understood the greatest lesson the old man had taught him: the light we receive is meant to be shared with others. As the sun rose over the village, the young man looked toward the mountain. The old man stood there in the distance, smiling. Then the morning light became brighter, and he disappeared once again. The young man smiled and whispered, "Thank you, God, for showing me the way. To be continued.